Hello, folks. How's it going? Right, let's have a common sense fucking chat about the NHS, shall we? BBC all day today. There's been dozens of fucking stories about it, but no one's talking sense, common sense. So I'm going to use 4 web pages to break this down very simply, just following a logical progression from good NHS to fucked NHS, predominantly using the BBC because that's a good lefty source. You can't get accused of being a right-wing bias like the Daily Mail or something if you use the BBC because it's fucking nearly as woke as Channel 4 or the Guardian. But anyway, so this is the story that interested me. Hospital waiting times at worst ever level, right? It says hospital performance at its worst level on record, data shows. Key targets have been missed for over 3 years. Massive delays everywhere, especially in A&E. Monthly figures last before the election prompted Labour and the Lib Dems to attack the Tories. Boris Johnson said huge demand was to blame. So the BBC is good enough to at least ask the question, is the NHS facing unprecedented demand? What the fuck do you think? Does this really need to be checked by the BBC? A&E's the worst performance. Raft of other targets are being missed. Has demand accelerated? Yes, it fucking has. I don't even need to wait to look. Oh, look, there we go. Number of annual attendances, whomp. Highest it's ever been. Over 24 million. What's that, 25 million? What could be behind? Like, this is fucking brilliant. They ask questions that a fucking 4-year-old could answer. Honest to God, you don't even need to read the story, do you? You would have to have the situational awareness of a fucking goldfish in a hijab to not be able to answer that question without even reading a story. What could be behind it? Could it be the fact that we fucking import hundreds of thousands of people to the UK every single year, and we have done every single year for the last, 30? No one's tackled immigration. People live longer. That's a fair point. We all know that as well. Obviously, people are living longer because of increased medical science, technology. We know people are living longer. So between the two, people living longer, but predominantly moving fucking millions of people to the UK. I don't know the exact number. I don't need to know the exact number. It's fucking millions. Millions of people have moved to the UK in the last 10 years. Some of them are from third world shitholes where they think you eat the condoms to fight off AIDS, for starters. There's an easy one. They'd have shit nutrition, shit dentistry. They move over here and they're fucked. We've got people with like malaria, rickets, fucking Ebola, TB, diseases that that were once eradicated. They're all moving to England. We're not importing fucking middle-class doctors from Canada, are we? No, we're importing millions and millions of badly educated fuckwits who, funny thing, aren't the healthiest of chaps. Yeah, what could be behind it? Yeah, well, alright, so we know. Fucking spending. The spending's slowed down. Well, we should slow it down. No one's got any fucking money. So on to the other one, right? So I promised I was going to do this in 4. Yes, the NHS is facing unprecedented demand. 11 charts on why the NHS matters in this election. Well, we know why. We don't need to see all the charts, but here's the important one. We spend more on the NHS than ever before. Ever. So these bullshit fucking stories you see saying, funding cuts, spending cuts, non-existent. Every fucking year we spend more money. Last year, more than 156 billion was spent, about 12 times the figure that it was 70 years ago, and that's after you adjust it for inflation. Look at that, how the NHS budget has grown. Fucking whomp. Do you see a dip there? This bit here, look. Roughly, the arse end of it. This is the important part, right? And it's fucking flew up. So there has been no budget cut. It doesn't say, oh yeah, by the way, in 2014, the Tories cut the budget for the NHS. It hasn't happened. It goes up every single fucking year. So here's 2 out of the stories I promised I'd show you, right? So you've got Exhibit A, is the NHS facing unprecedented demand? Yes, it fucking is. Exhibit B, has there been spending cuts? No, there fucking hasn't. And if there hasn't been spending cuts, you can't say we aren't throwing money at the problem, can you? Simple. There hasn't been any spending cuts. Anyone who says there's been a spending cut is a liar. The only thing you could say is we're not spending enough. Now, you couldn't say that, but if we're just going to keep importing more and more people and we're never going to sort immigration out, then we're never going to sort the spending out. We'll just have to keep throwing more and more money at it. Common sense, right? Common sense, not fucking very common anymore. So there's Exhibit B. There's too many fucking people. Don't tell me we're not spending enough money, because we're spending fucking loads. We're up to 160 billion quid. It's not like we're fucking being a bit tight with the purse strings, is it? Exhibit C. Jeremy Corbyn refused to rule out arbitrary immigration targets. So he's basically saying, fuck off. We don't want less immigrants. Boris Johnson at least came right out and said we want less people moving to the UK, because that will help. Help with everything, won't it? It won't just help with the NHS, it'll help with schools, roads, queues at the fucking chip shop. Every bastard thing. There's too many people here. Look, at least the Tories say they're going to cut overall immigration. Well, that's something. I mean, they probably won't grasp the nettle on it. They never have. But Exhibit C. So let's just quickly run them down. We've got A. Yes, the NHS is facing unprecedented fucking demand. B. No, they have never cut the funding for the NHS. It goes up every year. C. These twats refuse to even attempt to slow down the amount of people coming to the UK. So that'll just go up and up and up and up. It's not like in 2020 they're going to forget that the UK is nice and Somalia is a shithole. So Exhibit C, nobody's going to do anything about it. And this is my final one, Exhibit D. So we're throwing money at the problem. We aren't cutting the funding. We spend more every year. It's going to go up next year. It's going to go up the year after that. There's too many people using it. Nobody's going to just say the obvious. Why don't we stop fucking immigrants coming in as quickly as we do? No one's being bigoted. No one's saying don't let anyone in, but slow it down. It's logical to do a risk assessment, see what jobs you need, what migrants you need to bring in. Common sense approach, and just say maybe we only let in 50,000 people this year. It'd help, wouldn't it? If you're morbidly obese and you eat 50 cheeseburgers a day, no one's saying you have to cut down to a celery stick and some Perrier water. But if you just cut it down to 30 cheeseburgers a day, it'd fucking help, wouldn't it? Logic. And here's the final piece of the puzzle, right? Exhibit D. Transgender fertility. Should the NHS pay? You know, it's funny, I've said before, if there's ever a question mark in a headline on the BBC, if there's ever a question mark, the answer is always no, no, because they're begging the question. They're a lefty ideologue, but they're desperate to try and at least attempt to be impartial. So they always ask stupid questions where everyone knows the answer is no, but they want to ask the question anyway. So yeah, if the BBC ask ridiculous questions, anything to do with social justice. Do women really earn 50 pence on the pound? No. Should we be teaching 4-year-olds about homosexual bumming, daisy chaining and fucking felching? No. Yeah, so here's the last piece of the puzzle. We're spending money on shit like this. Transgender fertility. Yeah, now I'm pro-LGBT, I haven't got a problem with transgender people. But should we be really going all in and paying for everything for all these people with no financial assistance at all, even if you're totally skint and you're a lazy, good-for-nothing fucker and you have never worked a day in your life? Probably a good way to save some money there as well, isn't it? Repurpose it to buy better, to refurbish hospitals or hire more staff. Oh yeah, and here's a good one. Just a bonus exhibit. This is why old people get cranky. I've just turned 40. So I'm a bad-tempered bastard, and the reason you get annoyed is because young people, 23-year-old, 24-year-old lad, you could be cleverer than me, you might be much more intelligent than me, but you haven't got wisdom, because the reason old people have wisdom is because they've seen things and they remember them. And 9 times out of 10, I see a story or some bullshit opinion, and I know it's bullshit, not because I'm a clever bastard, but because I remember contradictory evidence. And I remember Nadia Almada. I remember reading about her winning Big Brother 5. So I don't know what year that was. What year will that have been? I was only 10 years ago at least. Fucking hell. I'm getting old. 15 years. There you go. That was 2004. Anyway, I remember it. And I remember Nadia Almada wasn't from Britain. Nadia Almada was from Portugal, or Madeira, I think it was. Does it say? Yeah. Ribeira Brava, Portugal. Guess where Nadia Almada, when Nadia was a bloke called fucking Dave, or whatever the fuck his name was, not a very Portuguese name, probably Paulo. Paulo got his cock off in fucking England. So it's been going on for years. Paulo moved to England, walked in, because we were in the EU, probably got a council house, probably fucking availed himself of numerous services, and one of them was getting cock off on the taxpayers' fucking dime. So maybe a combination of those 4 points. I think I've eloquently explained why the NHS is in the shit. It's got nothing to do with cutting funding. They have never cut the funding. There's another source. Full fact. Spending on the NHS in England. All it does is go up. 129 billion this year. 115 billion last year. It'll go up and up and up. So why have we got waiting times? Why is there too many people? Why is it struggling so much? Because dumb shits like this want to just keep on letting in people. Do they honestly think the third world will ever run out of people? Did they think if they just said, I'll tell you what, open borders like all the hippies want, did they think Africa will ever run out of people? Or the Middle East? Or the Far East? Do they think the world is just sparsely populated in the worst fucking regions where they all have to fucking have 20 kids because they don't know which ones are going to live to adulthood? The third world will never run out of people, ever. You could say we'll take 50 million people into Britain. It'll drop in the ocean. They'll come, and then another 50 million will come. So it's simple. Yes, spending's gone up every single year. Anyone who says otherwise is an idiot or a liar. Proven on Full Fact, which is an independent organisation. Proven on the BBC, which is a fucking load of commies. Is it facing unprecedented demand? Yes, it fucking is. Jeremy Corbyn doesn't want to fucking cut immigration because he's a fucking lunatic. And we're spending money on transgender fertility and random foreigners coming to get the cock off on the taxpayers' dime. Done. There's the NHS explained in fucking 10 minutes. It's fucked, and it's always going to be fucked unless somebody is honest about it and says the unmentionable. We need to ensure less people move to fucking Britain to use it. Or, plan B, if you'd prefer, plan B, gas all the pensioners. You fucking pick one. However, might I suggest that maybe if you've lived in Britain all your life and fought in a war and paid taxes for 57 years, maybe you deserve looking after a bit more than a random fucking Somalian bloke who rocked up in the back of a tomato wagon. Make your own fucking minds up, lads, eh? Cheers.